What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Drive to Thrive. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at PayPal. Now, even though we sold off 60% from those all-time highs, does it make it a nice buy opportunity, or could we still go lower? So that's what we'll be discussing in today's video. Now, as always, nothing is meant to be taken as any kind of financial advice, but I would love to hear from you guys. So please leave me those comments below. What are some of your price targets? What do you think is going to happen to PayPal? And at what price are you looking to get in? So let's go over to my computer and we'll get started. Alright, so here we are on our weekly chart of PayPal, and like I mentioned, we dropped off 60% from those all-time highs down to the current level. Now, looking at this chart, it looks like we've taken out some key supports along the way here. The latest one was this one at about that $176. If I zoom in a little bit more, you guys can see that we dropped beneath here, and this is a perfect example of how a support level becomes a resistance. You get this breakdown, then it comes back up, retests it from the bottom side, and then right after earnings, this thing just plummeted on its way down. Now, in the near future, I do think this gap will get filled in though. But before it does, there could be more downside. So let's kind of take a look at these charts and let me show you what I'm seeing here. So going back over to our daily chart here, many times before I mentioned that the stock market and charts don't like to see any kind of gaps here. So if I scroll over here to the side, you guys will see that there was a juicy gap here going back to May of 2020 that just got filled in this week here. So sometimes these gaps get filled in within a couple of days, weeks, and sometimes it takes a year, just like in this case. So looking at this chart though, I was curious, are there any more gaps? And looking at the chart, I do see one more gap here that I do think will get filled in within the next few months. And this one is right over here around that $94. So that's why I'm keeping my eye on, and that's why I don't want to be too aggressive at these levels, because I do think there's more downside. So if we do end up selling off from these levels, there is possibility for another 30% of more downside on PayPal, 28, 30, I do think we'll end up going all the way down to this $81 support here, and this is where I'll become an aggressive buyer here. But until then, I'll kind of be sitting on the sidelines and just seeing what happens at this $124 support here. What I'm expecting here in the next couple of weeks is possibly for us to start retesting this, establishing this support, and possibly do end up getting the bounce to fill in the gap. But personally, what I would like to see is for us to just end up breaking lower, get the pain over with, and then once we get down around that $81, I think we'll start to see a lot of buyers come in, and this is where I think this momentum shift might come in. Now, it may take a couple of weeks and it could take a couple of months. So again, patience is the key here when it comes to trading. Now, if you are a long-term investor, and again, this isn't any kind of financial advice, but you can start to look at and dollar cost average at this main supports. Now, it doesn't mean that just because there is a gap, we will end up breaking all the way down to those levels, but chances are that with all this bearishness in the market, I do see more downside for the stock, but there's nothing that says that we can't bounce off of here and end up going all the way up to that $225 level, where there is another gap here that I do think will end up getting filled in to the upside. So that's kind of what I see in the charts. Now let's go take a look at some of these indicators and let's see what they are predicting. So still on our daily chart here, let's take a look at this MACD. So we did end up coming close to this zero line here. Now perfect rejection. So again, lots of bearishness here on the daily. We did end up getting rejected here. We tried to cross over, and now we're just speeding up this downward momentum. So again, that's why I predict there's more downside ahead. The stochastic is, however, turning into that oversold territory, so starting to perhaps flatten out. We'll see what happens in the next few weeks here. And on our weekly chart here, we do have, again, we haven't had the crossover on the MACD. Actually, we ended up accelerating the downward momentum here, and our stochastic is again in this oversold territory. So for now, keep an eye out on this $125 support. Let's see what happens here in the next coming up weeks. But ultimately, I want to be an aggressive buyer, and I think a lot of other investors out there around that $80 to $85 area. So that is it for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy it, give it a thumbs down, but let me know what I can do in the future to improve on these videos. Otherwise, thank you so much, enjoy your day, and see you next time.